Solopreneurs, come on down! Unpacking all your business woes on the go. Your queens of business banter, Laura and Lindsay. You're in for a hilarious half hour of unconventional, unpredictable, unadulterated solopreneur shenanigans, jam-packed with pearls of wisdom and actionable aha moments. Let's get ready to banter!
Hello and welcome back to the Banterpreneurs. She's Laura. She's a professional speaker and performance coach, and she has bangs, which she didn't have before.
I have bangs, and they're annoying me somewhat this afternoon. So I'm just going to keep doing like some sexy hair shake. But luckily, you're listening to me, so you don't know. Anyway, she's Lindsay. She's an improv teacher, creativity coach. And she likes to zoom around with her husband on an electric scooter.
It's the best. What can I say? There's just nothing so good. And it's quiet. It doesn't pollute. There's no stench of like the old days you get a motor on your bike, whatever it was. No. So good. 25 k's an hour.
That's are you allowed that on a pavement or do you have to go on the road for
It's
that?
on the pavement because I'm in Queensland, darling. You're not allowed in New South Wales.
Oh, really? Queensland is so free in Queensland.
I know. Yeah, we do what we want up here, mate. Yeah.
Well, there's too many things I can say about that. I'm just going to skip over it.
Okay, just let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. Let it go.
So, I have a very, very important topic that I want to talk about today.
Okay.
And it's a topic that sends the fear of God through the solopreneur. It's something that creates anxiety week on week, month on month. And it's something that we're all experiencing. So we need to talk about it.
Oh, this sounds very, very interesting. Should I do a drum roll?
Yes, please. I'm talking about newsletters.
No. You know that my newsletter just came out and it took 3 months, don't you? There was a big break between, the last one and this one. I'm doing it quarterly. I'm managing quarterly at the moment. So
there you go. And I noticed you did the old, it's been a while.
Yeah. Very original subject line.
The words of shame.
Yeah. It's been a while. Yeah.
So look, I want to know who else goes through this because I think we all do, right? So we know that we honestly, I think we kind of do need to write newsletters. It's a really good way to nurture our audience, to stay connected with them, to grow that kind of personal connection with them. So we know we need to do it. Yes. But it can become the bane of our lives, can it not?
But you know what I reckon it is too, though? It's just like where we are in technology because it's long form. Like it's so much more long form than Twitter. That's 140 characters and shit. So we're thinking, I'm going to write a newsletter, I'm going to write more than 140 characters, you know what I mean? So to me, it's got to do with that as well.
Well, I personally have the opposite problem and I always write too much. I go on. I love to go on.
Yeah.
So I have to try and cut it back. So, but you're right though. So then when I do go to sit down, I am like, effing out. Like this is going to be a full day affair.
I'm doing the Odyssey, man. I mean, it's been 3 months. So I've got the Odyssey. It's like the Iliad. You know what I mean? Like it's going on and on and on and on. It's full on.
But it did go on with interesting stuff. So that's
good.
That's good. But I'll tell you what, though, the problem is that I knew it was going to be interesting stuff. So I read it and I allowed it to go on and I persevered with it. But the challenge is a lot of people who don't know us.
Doesn't have the time or.
I think that's where the mind fuckery comes is like, what's the subject line going to be to make people even open the frigging thing? What's the first sentence or whatever going to be to capture their attention? How am I going to keep them engaged? Like it's a lot to think about. And I'll tell you one thing that I did here, which gave me a lot of peace in my mind, was this marketing guru dude said that Even if people don't open it, you're still showing up in their inbox every
True.
week, 2 weeks, whatever. So you're actually still staying present in their mind. And I know this is true. Like, I've got newsletters, I don't know why, that I'm subscribed to, and I don't unsubscribe from them. And I kind of get pissed off when they show up in my inbox, but I still allow them to be there. And so even though I'm pissed off, it's still reminding me about this person. And quite often my emotion turns to intrigue, which then has turned into me converting and becoming a client.
Yep.
So
it happened to me.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year, I was years ago, I went to this newsletter. I was signed up for this newsletter about emailing, right? About newsletters. And so I knew that at some point, I'm going to need this or I'll be interested in this. But it's literally 2 years later, still getting these emails, like deleting them, whatever. But when I thought about, I got to get my newsletter shit together, who did I think of?
Exactly.
I thought of her.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that takes a lot of pressure off for us. Like, of course, we want it to make it interesting and we want people to open it. But I think it is very humbling to know that even if they don't open it, you're still showing up in their inbox. You're still going to be present in their mind. So we've got all that trauma to think about. And then I think the worst trauma of it, I don't know if anyone agrees, is the hitting send. So you might do like 1 million tests and change like a full stop here and a comma there and, you know, a font size or whatever. So you spend about half a day doing your tests. And then that moment when you hit send, it's like the whole world stops. Even your heart.
Slow-mo.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, and you press send. And I for me, I'm like, I'm never reading it again because I might see a mistake and it's gone. I can't change it.
There's got to be, like, usually there's got to be 3 what do you call, like, 3 almost liftoffs? So, like, you go to press the send, but then you realize there's a typo. I was like, no. And then you read it again. And I'm ready. Yep, I feel ready. I feel ready here. Oh, no, hang on a minute. Hang on. So because it does always take longer than you think it does to do a newsletter.
Yes.
Part of it is that as well. And then I have to send myself a test email first, just to be sure.
Yeah, I send mine heaps and hoops and hoops to be sure.
Yes, to be sure. Yes.
But I have to say, I find my anxiety around it is lower nowadays. Number one, because I have fully committed to being consistent with it. Actually, in actual fact, I have been doing it weekly for about 8 months, and I've got so much other stuff going on now. I've realized that the quality isn't where I want it to be. So I'm now going to bi-weekly, fortnightly, whatever you want to call it. But I'll still stay consistent with that. So my challenge has always been consistency. And I think that can be a challenge for people because then you start to feel guilty, you start to feel like shit, you start to resent it. And that, like, is this whole big cycle of mind fuckery. So I found that for me going, right, there's value in this. It's going to help me achieve what I want. It's going to give my people more value. And that's my whole goal in life, is to make a positive difference to people. So once I committed to being more consistent, I then got a bit more of a plan in place. Don't get me wrong. There's still days where it's like half an hour until send time. And I'm like, fuck. So I'm not saying I'm perfect. But I have found through having a bit more planning in place, it is helping. And I know that's probably not what people want to hear because it's not sexy to plan, is it?
Yeah, but it does kind of help. Look, there's an interesting thing about planning, and I think we'll probably need to do an episode on it. And I will leave. I will just mic drop this thought, and then we will go back to that in another podcast.
Okay.
So with planning and organization, when it comes to your business, like if you don't plan something, basically it's a symptom of not owning it. It's not important enough to plan for. So that's another episode. Okay, so
moving on. It's a good point. And actually, another point that's come into my mind because of that is maybe newsletters are not that thing for you. Like I've just said, it's important. I believe it's important. I do believe it's a really good part of your marketing strategy. But if you don't think it is, for whatever reason, fuck it off. Don't feel like I should be doing it. I should be doing it.
You're
Focus
better to
somewhere
get
else.
rid of it than be thinking I should.
Exactly. We hate
And letting
shit,
yourself
don't we?
down over and over and over again, and then getting the shits with that. You know, like I had to do that. I had to like not send newsletters for maybe like a year, because it was just the shoulding all over. You know, ourselves. We've spoken about that before. And, you know, but I've found a new appreciation for it because I actually found out that I actually don't mind writing and that I do get a forum where it's low stakes because they're probably not going to open it, right? So,
Pressure off.
so I can write that stuff that's a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, I can write that stuff that's a bit sort of more authentic. So, because it's not a superficial medium like say Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Yeah. It is a more of an old school medium. So you do have that capacity to be a little bit more, I think, long form and a little bit more, you know, authentic.
Yeah, I agree. And I found the clearer I've become about who it is that I'm talking to and how I want to help them, the easier it has become to write my newsletters. I had a while there where I was confused. I was like, am I entertaining these people? Am I selling coaching to these people? Am I talking to corporates? And then I just went, no, fuck it. I'm talking to, you know, solopreneurs, entertain them, giving some helpful shit. And then my brain is like, all right, girlfriend, here we go. I'm going to let all your creativity juices flow. So maybe that's a nice little piece of advice for people. Like if you do feel like you're pushing shit uphill when it comes to your newsletters, stop, collaborate and listen. And think about, okay, who am I writing for? What do they need? How am I helping them? Just ask those 3 questions. Yeah. And then you've got all of the answers to your problems will be there because you just go, great, I know it's this person, they've got this problem, and this is how I can help them. Right?
Yeah, and take the pressure off because they're probably not going to open it.
Yeah, exactly. And if they do,
take the pressure off, man.
Yeah, maybe that could be a subject line. I know you're not going to open this.
Yeah, exactly. The greatest ever. I can guarantee they're going to open it.
Exactly.
You know, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to open this email.
Yeah. Do you know what? I might try that for my next one next week and see if anything.
We should both try it.
Greater result. Although that only works once. That strategy, unfortunately.
Yeah. True. Unless you say, you know, I know you're not going to open this again.
Yeah.
Surely
you're
not.
not going to open this another time. There you go. There's 3 weeks worth for you.
There you go. 3 weeks.
You are welcome,
there
everybody.
It is. Yeah.
So look, I wonder if there's anyone that can help us with this. We're kind of in it as well. I don't know that we're particularly experts in this. We're kind of just getting into the hole with all of you today.
Yes.
So we feel your pain. So have we got anyone that can help? Any of our experts?
Well, the producers are in my ear now telling me that Pearl's standing by. I'm not really sure why, but, you know, if we're going to go there, we're going to go there.
Let's go. I mean, I'm always up for a chat with Pearl, so let's do it, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, so we are going to cross over live to Auntie Pearl in her living room. What a fabulous living room it is. Hey, Auntie Pearl.
Oh, hello, dear. Good to see you. I've got my little cup of tea with me.
Oh, excellent. What are you drinking today?
Oh, a bit of Darjeeling, darling.
Oh,
a bit of Darjeeling.
Fancy.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Auntie Pearl, I'm not going to keep you long because I know you got, you know, a lot of knitting to do.
Yeah, and I might not have much time.
Yeah, well.
Well, you just don't know at my age. You know,
well,
anything
this
could.
Is true. You should listen to our episode on fear of death, by the way. That might be helpful.
Oh, I have listened to it, dear. I always listen to your episodes.
Was it helpful?
Yeah, well, I thought it was beautiful.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Well, you know, as someone who's
knocking on that door. Yes.
Exactly. Well, that's good to know. If it can help you, it can help all of us, right?
Yes, totally. Yes.
Now then, I would like to ask you. So Lindsay and I have been discussing. Lindsay sends her apologies, by the way.
Where is she?
Well, she had a curry last night for dinner.
Oh dear, not again.
Yeah, she's just taken the
Right.
opportunity to,
Curry, chocolate. It's always something, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
So we were talking about writing newsletters for our businesses, and we were talking about how it can be a massive ball ache to do that.
Boar Lake. No, I've never been to that lake before.
Sorry, I used like a young term, didn't I? It can be a pain in the derriere.
Oh, pain in the ass, dear.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
I'm getting you now. Oh, ball ache.
Yes.
So testicular discomfort.
Yes, that's
Right.
way better. So yeah,
Right.
it can be a testicular discomfort to write a newsletter.
Yes.
And, it can bring up a lot of anxiety in us solopreneurs. So anyway, the producers reckon that we should have a chat to you about it. So here we are.
Yes, well, I'm not sure what they were thinking, but the thing is that, I have written a lot of letters in my time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I've forgotten all about them, actually.
Yes, well, a lot of people do. But that's actually, for those young uns out there that don't know, we used to write letters on paper with a pen, sometimes a pencil, depending on what was available.
Oh, and then you can, erase.
You could erase, but if you did the pen, it was harder. It was harder to erase things. So I think, maybe a bit more thought did go into the letters, but I think generally speaking, we were just, whatever would be, and it was in ink, it was there, and then you'd have to walk down to the post box and put it in the post box, and then you'd have to wait maybe a couple of weeks to find out if the person even got the letter.
Yeah. Is that so interesting, right? Because we are in this culture where we can just do things over and over and over, right? We just delete. No one ever needs to know that it ever existed. But when you used to write letters, like you said, you had to put thought into it because you don't want to be crossing stuff out all over the place. And
it was exciting, dear. It was exciting to wait for that letter to come back, in 2 weeks' time and to find out. And it's interesting because you'd think, if you were going to take the time to write a letter that you might have something to say. But the interesting thing is a lot of the time, a lot of the loveliest letters that I got was just about, little things like, oh, I saw the deers in the garden again today, or my flowers are in bloom again, and that reminds me of mother, and things like that. Just beautiful little bits and pieces that you'd think were unimportant, but are really like the important moments in life. So, and we'd be waiting for those things, and when they came, we were so excited just to find out what the weather was like in another place.
And so I suppose back then that was how you connected with people, right? So they would tell you these things that, nowadays we might think is unimportant, but that allows you to connect with the person, right? If they're telling you what's going on and how they're feeling.
Yes, I think there's an interesting thing there that basically it's almost like the more mundane or the more boring that you think it is, perhaps the more connective it is. Because the thing is that we all connect about the mundanities of life.
And you know what, as well, Auntie Pearl, what's coming into my brain? So we were talking before about knowing who you're talking to, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
I suppose this probably came in when you wrote a letter. So if I think about now, if I was writing a letter to my mum, I would fill her in on different details.
You wouldn't be talking about ball aches.
No, I probably wouldn't be talking about that with my dad either.
Yeah, just checking.
With my dad, I know he loves nature and all that sort of stuff. So I'd probably focus more on that in my letter to my dad. And my mum, she likes, to know, things are organized and all that kind of stuff. So even in a letter, if you tailor it to who you're talking to, right?
Yes, it's like you girls were saying, to know the audience, so who's the audience? And we didn't have a lot of people we were writing to. It was just usually one letter to one person or one family, but we knew exactly who we were writing to, and so I think there's a lot of different things around this. I think one thing is that, we didn't really second guess ourselves. We just reported on what was going on in our lives. We didn't have any questions about, is this worthy of being written down? Do people care? Because you knew that somebody would read it and then they would respond, and that's just how it was. I know it's hard now, dear, because you send out those letters, those electronic letters, and you don't know whether it's falling on deaf ears or not. But is that really the reason to do it in the first place?
Well, I suppose even with a letter, it might fall on deaf ears, right? But what you're saying is you don't question it. You just write, and then I guess the person takes from it what they want to take from it, right?
Yes, exactly. And even if they don't read it and it never got read again, would you not do it? I mean, you're getting something out of it too, surely. You're getting some kind of clarity.
Well, yeah, and I know, if I was going to write a letter to my mum, for example, I know that it's going to make her day, she's going to enjoy it. And I suppose it's the same for writing my newsletter. Like, I know if people get it.
Well, they signed up, dear.
That's true. I didn't force them to sign up. They willingly did for, the GDPR or whatever it is. they did it willingly.
Yes.
So, Auntie Pearl, I just want to ask you, because you mentioned a few moments ago about like worth, and you said that, you didn't question what you wrote, and I think you said something about worth. So do you think that it's different for us now as it was when you wrote a letter?
It's extremely different. I think, now everybody needs the bells and whistles, and everybody's got to have something exciting to say, or it's got to be this or it's got to be that, Whereas in my day, people were just happy to hear from you. And I don't think it's changed, really, in the scheme of things. I think that just perhaps people don't think sometimes that what they're doing or what they're saying is worthy of an audience, and the bottom line is that, everybody has something to say that may just change someone else's life. And I've lived long enough to know this to be true. Many letters I've received of much mundanity, the person didn't think it was a big deal. And when I got it, it made me think about some important things in my life. So, yes, I don't think you can ever underestimate the power of words.
That's true. And also, I think for me, I found it important to just know that I might be saying the exact same thing as many other people. Let's face it, none of us are really saying that much unique stuff nowadays, but no one else is saying it in our voice, right? No one is saying it from our experience, from our perspective.
But that makes it unique, dear. We can both speak about a garden, but we're not going to notice the same things.
Yeah. Or feel the same way about things, right?
That's right.
That's really interesting, Auntie Pearl. So I guess if our listeners were to extract some of your pearls of wisdom from that, it's to just write from the heart.
Exactly.
Know who you're talking to,
and
know that you can't control what they're going to think about it. You can only write openly, authentically, and allow them to take what they want from it. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right. And take the pressure off.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a ball ache.
It doesn't have to be testicular
discomfort. It doesn't need to be that, And I'm not being sexist here. I mean, if I did have testicles, and I'm sure that there'd be times I felt discomfort in them. So I'm saying that across the board to anybody. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It can actually be something that you might enjoy. You never know.
What? That's crazy, Auntie Pearl. I think you need to go and sit down now.
Well, I do. I need to go and watch Taggart, because it's coming on. It's repeats, of course. I've seen them before, but you always see something new, even in the old.
In the murder.
Yeah, and I can't do a Scottish accent. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Well, you've given us so much more. You don't have to give us a Scottish accent.
Okay, dear.
Well, thank you very much for some more beautiful pearls of wisdom. Go enjoy Taggart and enjoy your Darjeeling. I hope it's not gone chilly.
Oh, it's just right now, dear. I hate to burn myself, but it's just right.
Excellent.
So I'll think of you while I'm having my Darjeeling and watching Taggart.
Fantastic. And I'm going to go see if Lindsay's all right or if she needs help.
Oh, that's true. She always needs help. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, see you, my dear.
Belle.
Bye.
Bye. Right.
I'm back.
Are you all right?
Well, it was a little bit traumatic, but yeah, I'm back. So, I missed Pearl, man.
Yes, you did.
Oh.
I assume you didn't have your headphones in.
No.
They double up as speakers, I think. So thank you.
No, I was a bit
for not having them.
preoccupied. Yeah, a bit preoccupied.
All right. Well, look, at least you're back now. So let me just give you like some sort of power phrase of what Auntie Pearl
Okay.
said. So she was talking about how they used to write letters back in the day. We used to write letters back in the day as well, right? We are, you know.
I had a pen pal, I think, when I was like 10 or something.
Pen pals too. I love pen pals. So she was reminding us of the writing of the letter.
Right.
And what I really liked was she was saying about how we write that in ink. And so you have to be a bit more thoughtful about what you write because you can't just keep deleting. And she was so the main thing I took from her was she was saying about how there was less kind of the unworthiness basically at that time when they were writing. So they would just write the letter, you know who they were writing it to, tell them things from the heart, things that they know or think they would want to hear. And that was kind of it. And then they'd put it in the mail and then the person would take from it what they took from
like
it.
A no nonsense kind of, I'm just doing this thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
Yeah. I'm speaking from the heart. I'm writing the things that I think this person, might be interested in. And that's it. Which really is
not complicating it.
I know, but it was really interesting what she said. Or what I took from it was around, I think when in our brains, we're not just writing a newsletter. In our brains, it is like us. And we're basically saying, if you open me, then you're accepting me. And if you don't open me, then you're rejecting me. And then I'm a failure and, all the mindfuckery that comes with that. So Auntie Pearl was just basically saying, take the pressure off, just write from the heart, write what you think they want to hear, and just fucking send it. She didn't say the F word, of course.
Yeah, of course not. No.
Although she did change the word ball ache to testicular discomfort, which I found quite nice.
Yeah, it's got to be proper with Pearl, you know what I mean?
That was a big pearl of wisdom. So, can you imagine that? Can you imagine if we just wrote our newsletters in that manner and we removed all of this shit from it, that it's us, that's trying to be accepted.
Just lighter, I guess.
Yeah. And I think most of us were in business because we want to help people or give things to people or make people's lives easier or whatever it is. And so that's the purpose of doing a newsletter, is it not? Is to just give them some more of whatever we've got that's going to help them. So if we just kind of, I know for me, I'm thinking about it in my head now, I'm like, God, yeah. If I was to just go, hey, here's some really cool shit that I think you'd like and would find helpful. It's way better than me going, here's me, please love me, please accept me.
Yeah. Yeah, and desperation never goes well.
No.
In relationships.
No, maybe for one night, but that's about it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking from Pearl, from us, is take the pressure off, know who you're talking to, write some shit that they're gonna find interesting from the heart, and just fucking send it, bro.
Just send it, man. Just do it.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Be consistent, by the way. That's just me putting my
I think back then they were, but that's
true.
all they did. They just write letters and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the one sort of thing you need a bit of structure around is, be consistent and knowing who you're talking to, and then just let it flow
And I guess like if you know who you're talking to, that's kind of going to dictate consistency. You know, like you would probably write to your mum more than you'd write to someone who's not your mum, or, you know, that kind of thing. So people, you probably get to know your audience too, I think. Like I think my audience just aren't the kind of audience that want to be bombarded like every day with a newsletter.
Yeah.
They're just not that audience. You know? So I think you need to really be aware of who are they, what would they appreciate, and if you can give them what they want, they appreciate you even more.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, we can always ask. We can
exactly
ask the people, what do you want? But I just ask a good array of people, and then just find the popular consensus. I think sometimes we're trying to guess what people want. I know when I wrote my book, I interviewed heaps of driven women for my book, and it was invaluable. You know, I got lots of things in their words that I could put back in the book. I made sure that I was dealing with the specific challenges that they were sort of coming up with rather than assuming. So I think, don't be scared to ask.
Good point.
Ask and thy shall receive.
Yes, definitely. That's it. Have you got anything else? Or?
No, I think that'll do. My little dog's just walked in the room, so he can obviously tell that.
Well, he's ready for you. That's it. He said, "That's it. Now you're done."
Yeah, he's
done.
ready for the love.
Yeah. There he is. I can hear him shaking.
Awesome.
The director's come in. Yeah, it's time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then go forth and write, my friend.
Right.
Ciao.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Banterpreneurs. If you have a question for us to answer on the show, submit it on our website at banterpreneurs.com. And if you liked what you heard, give us a review and share the love with a fellow business mate. See you next week for more solopreneur shenanigans.